Order for September 4th, 2025. Melanie, roll call, please.
Alderperson Hall.
Here.
Alderperson Morset.
Excused.
Alderperson Wakefield.
Here. At this part, we'll have public comments. If you have a comment that is not on the agenda, please come to the podium, state your name and address. Try to keep your comments brief and not repeat other comments. Any comments?
I haven't seen the agenda. 6 number May 10th, can you let me know?
Agenda?
Yeah, you guys are on the agenda for Hagen Street? Yes. Yes.
All right. Good evening, Nicholas Kramer, 50 Middle Arc. My name is Nicholas Kramer, and I'm here to strongly oppose the use of flock cameras in our community. I urge this community to take decisive action to end their use in our city. I spoke on this topic during the public comment section of the council meeting earlier this week, but tonight I wanted to expand on the serious dangers this system poses to the rights guaranteed to us by the Constitution. A normal traffic camera use is limited purposes, monitors traffic flow, spots accidents, and general public observation. They record video, but generally are not storing and indexing every passing vehicle or person in a centralized database. Case law makes it clear that this type of limited monitoring is legal and constitutional. Flock cameras are something entirely different. They don't just record, they scan every vehicle that passes, log the exact time, date, GPS location, and identifying details, and then upload all of that into an AI-powered searchable database. Police and other agencies can then use that database to reconstruct where someone has been over days, weeks, or even months. In short, a traffic camera might monitor an intersection where a flock camera builds a detailed map of your life, track everyone as if they were criminals in anticipation of them committing a crime. Think about that. With nothing more than a last name and access to the system, I could piece together the rhythm of your entire daily life. Where you go after work on a Tuesday, how often you visit a certain address, what doctor's office you might go to. The intimate patterns of your personal world, all cataloged, all trackable, all without your knowledge or consent. Courts are already sounding the alarms. The Institute for Justice has filed a lawsuit against Flock's deployment in Virginia. In February, Chief Judge Davis of the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia cited Carpenter v. United States in his ruling to let that case proceed. He wrote, "A reasonable person could believe that society's expectations as laid out by the court in Carpenter are being violated by the Norfolk Flock system." He went further, noting the striking similarities to Carpenter, where the Supreme Court found it unconstitutional for law enforcement to secretly monitor and catalog the whole of individuals' movements over time. As I mentioned on Tuesday, Carpenter made clear that collecting people's digital location history without a warrant is a Fourth Amendment violation. The court recognized that tracking someone's movements over time reveals deeply intimate personal details of their lives. That is exactly what Flock does. At best, Hudson is participating in a practice that a federal judge has already warned a reasonable person could find unconstitutional. This committee must act with a violence of action to preserve the rights and privacy of Hudson's residents. Let me give you a picture of where this is going. Flock recently introduced Nova. Nova will knit data collected from Flock's camera system with all manner of public information. Property and occupancy data, social security numbers, and personal credit bureau histories, and make it all easily searchable with AI. Every detail of your life accessible by the click of a mouse with no warrant, no cause, and no consent. I do not believe that the Hudson Police Department brought us down this path with malicious intent. I come from a long line of police officers and myself served as a staff sergeant in the Army. I have unlimited respect for the brave men and women who serve with the Hudson Police Department. I think the chief saw this as a public safety force multiplier and put his best foot forward. Although Flock may serve as a legitimate tool to combat crime, we cannot ignore that at its core it is a violation of our privacy and most likely a violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. You are in the position, and the people have granted you the power to act and end this untenable overreach in our community. And you must act. It is your duty and your responsibility to the people. I urge you to recommend this topic be added to an agenda for a coming city council meeting for the public to assess. I will again close with a timeless warning from Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we'll move on. Approval of the meeting minutes from August 7th. Any questions or comments?
Move to approve.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business, talking about the River Valley Deer Management Agreement.
Yeah, so this has been going on for several years now. Every year we come forward with a contract basically for River Valley Deer Management to try to control the urban deer population as best they can. That contract is attached to the issue sheet. Mr. Faya is not here, but I mean, this has been an ongoing thing for years.
I noticed that there are some errors. It'll say 25-25 hunt instead of 25-26 hunt. So if you could make those corrections before sending it to the council. Do you know how many hunters he has now?
I don't.
Do you know how many deer were harvested last year?
I think he said in a previous email that the latest harvest numbers were 9 or 10
Okay.
from last year.
All right, I move to approve.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, item B, discussion of possible action for the 3rd Street Halloween event and street closure.
Yep, so this is another event that has been going on for years. It's been the last 7 or 8 years that we've actually started closing down 3rd Street for it for a safety perspective. That's worked out quite well. So I just keep reusing the same map, which is the one attached from 2022, but that is the streets that get closed and the location of squad cars and things, so that if you have any questions about our deployment, that's kind of what we do. But from the hours of 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., we close off basically all the side streets to 3rd Street, and we close off 3rd Street so that trick-or-treaters and their families can walk safely through the neighborhood there to participate on the trick-or-treating.
Any other concerns?
Is the church going to be providing porta potties and stuff like that
I've
again?
not heard from the church this year, but they've done that the last couple of years. I would anticipate their continued involvement.
Good. Move to approve.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C, discussion, possible action on e-bikes and the difference between off-highway motorcycle and other ATV, UTV vehicles.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've all seen the influx of juveniles riding on these motorized, well, they're motorcycles, essentially what they are, propelled by an electric motor. They're not designed for use on the roads. They are off-highway motorcycles, which require registration, insurance, licensure, right? So 12, 14, 13-year-olds cannot be driving them without a driver's license. Most of the stops we have involve, kids on Carmichael Road cutting across 3 or 4 lanes of traffic because they don't know the rules of the road, and it's just a dangerous thing. A lot of people confuse these vehicles with e-bikes because, it's electric powered motor and it's a bike. It's just an e-bike. Well, it's not. State statute clearly defines what an e-bike is. It's got to be propelled by pedals, right, with an electric motor assist. These things don't have pedals. They have pegs. They put their feet on, and it's completely propelled by a motor. Some of these go upwards of 45 miles an hour, which is obviously very dangerous. Another definition of an e-bike is the electric motor assist shuts off when it gets above 20 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour, depending on the class of the bike. So there's inherent kind of safety factors mixed in with an actual e-bike. If you've looked at the OHM information that I attached, there's pictures of what these OHMs look like, off-highway motorcycles as well as e-bikes. So you can kind of see the difference. But it's our position that these are illegal. I've instructed my staff to, when they see these being operated, to have contact with the juvenile and hopefully the parent. Not as an enforcement mechanism at this point, but as an educational mechanism. Nobody wants to be writing a 12-year-old for operating without a valid driver's license, right? Especially if it's just something that their parents bought them as a gift, then it's an easy way for them to get around town. We don't want to necessarily make it difficult for the juvenile to obtain a driver's license when they do turn 16. So my intention with this is to just give a brief overview of the differences, as well as urge you to allow me to start working with the city attorney to draft an ordinance prohibiting all off-road or off-highway motorcycles or vehicles on public property in the city. That would include ATVs, side-by-sides, right? Golf carts. Some of them are specifically identified already in ordinance, but not all of them. Our ordinance still lists mini bikes in one section, and these do not apply to those. So I would just like to do a blanket prohibition so that we can get everything covered.
What about one wheels?
One wheels, that's probably another discussion.
Okay.
Those aren't off-road. Those are more like a play vehicle. Those are identified in state statute and generally prohibited from public property already. So sidewalk use, path use, roadway use would generally be prohibited already with those.
Okay. All right, I will make the motion to, what do you want, authorization to work with the city?
City attorney to draft an ordinance for your review, yes.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Item D, discussion and possible action of Hagan Street, Hanley Road intersection.
Yeah, so this one's my item. So the last public safety meeting, we had some residents from the villas of River Ridge present some concerns about drivers driving onto Starlight Lane, a private road. And they also did send a letter, and which I have also attached to the issue sheet. So essentially, you know, they're saying drivers seem confused when making the turn. It's a pretty sharp, almost 90-degree turn in the road, and Starlight Lane kind of just extends down, making some vehicles maybe think they can go through. So their temporary solution was to install a concrete jersey barrier on the west side of Hagan Street to run somewhat parallel to the double yellow center line. I spoke with Public Works, and we are concerned with just putting up a jersey barrier in a situation where it could actually cause more severe injury or accident if someone were in fact actually to hit it. And so we looked at other solutions. We looked at some crash history. There are some crashes reported of people kind of trying to go too fast around the curb. Some of it might have been in the winter. Some of it's probably just, you know, not paying attention. And so we recommend actually adding a advanced warning signage. It's to show the 90-degree angle of the upcoming curve, and then also stripe a fog line around the curve on the edge line to actually try to help delineate people around the curve as well, which actually Public Works has already done. I'm sure you guys have noticed that. And so we are also, there is a dead end sign, but it is not meeting current like engineering standards for the height of it. It's a little too low. So we could put that sign on a new post and actually raise it up to the signage height requirements. So hopefully that'll be a little more visible. And then adding the advanced warning around the curb would cost about $200 to purchase 2 new signs. We already have some posts in stock. So it'd be fairly easy. It can work within the existing Public Works general operating budget. And so just to note, we did receive a grant to put a trail in, starting from here going to Namakagan. And so right now we have tentatively do have that for 2028 construction. So I know it's a few years away, but before that, in the design process, we can kind of look at how we can reorientate that intersection, maybe flatten out the curve to make it easier, and hopefully make it look more like a driveway entrance versus just a straight road going through. So that will be coming down the line. So we also don't want to put too much money into anything right now if that's going to be happening in engineering terms soon.
Is there a yellow stripe down the middle?
There is,
Okay.
yeah,
Because that should help with
yeah. I
letting people
think-
know that that's not, that they're expected to turn.
Right, yeah, I think that too. I don't know if they restriped that one yet, but that could go on a list for, at some point to get that restriped as well, to make that more visible, so.
Raising that sign, I think, will also help to make it more
Yeah.
visible that that's not a thoroughfare.
Yeah, so that's what we recommend. So it doesn't need to go to council necessarily to just purchase the signs and put them up.
Okay,
So-
move to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. On to EMS, Fire Department, Police Department updates. August fire report.
Attached to the packet was our monthly report for the month of August. We did have one structure fire in the city in the month of August on Grandview Way, fire in the attic. We were able to contain it to the one unit, so wasn't too serious. Other than that, everything was pretty much standard, and the big thing now we're working on is getting some final numbers put together for some referendum information.
Thank you. Police calls for service.
Yeah, so the call sheet is attached to the issue sheet here, 2,044 calls for service last month. I know that doesn't really speak to anything, so a little bit of a breakdown is we generally have about 7.5 patrol shifts per day. That breaks down to about 70 calls for service per day, so you break that down, it's about 9 1/3 calls for service for each officer, each shift that they work in a 10-hour shift. So obviously, some of those calls take 15 to 20 minutes, some take hours, right? So I actually talked to Melanie today, and we're gonna start trying to figure out how to run a report to show the average time per call an officer is spending, to maybe give you some better information, but
That'd be great.
that's the only update I have.
How much time do they spend on paperwork then after the call? I think that would
Well,
be
and that's the thing too,
useful
and
information.
even with this report, the active call, right, as soon as they clear the call with dispatch, well, they don't do that. They don't do that after they're done writing the report, right? They clear the call with dispatch, they go back down to the PD, they write their report. General reports for a 15, 20-minute call is gonna take 5 or 10 minutes, right? But for some of these bigger calls, it might take an hour. You might have 3 or 4 officers that are on scene, processing evidence, downloading photos, writing reports. Now you're talking 4 hours of officer time, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
To complete one report, plus they might have spent an hour, hour and a half on the call itself. So it's hard to really just put a blanket number of time on how much it takes to handle a certain call. But we're gonna, to answer your question simply, no, it does not include the report writing time. It doesn't include any of the follow-up time generally, so if they need to do additional follow-up or call additional witnesses or contact additional witnesses or victims and have statements provided, that all takes time too. So we are trying to look at ways to document that a little
Okay,
bit better.
yeah.
Because we understand that you can tell us that you have 2,000 calls for service a month, what does that really mean?
Right.
And
And so you're talking about only the patrol officers, not the detectives? That's completely
doesn't-
separate.
I don't even know how we would begin to track
Yeah.
that time.
Okay,
What I can tell you is that our detective group handles about 400 felony investigations every year, right? And there's generally, 3 or 4 of them back there doing it, so
yeah,
there's a
That's
lot
a
of
lot,
time, yeah.
okay. Well, we need
Radier and Stacy?
documentation.
Radier and Tracy, how are they doing?
Awesome.
Good. Bias, sorry.
They're doing awesome. He makes everybody happy when he comes running through the PD, and
I can't, yes,
it's pretty good.
that's awesome.
It's good stuff.
John, I might have missed over you, sorry. Did you want to have anything to share about?
That's all right. I don't, you guys have the report, the EMS August data for the city of Hudson. There's no outliers there, no concerns with anything. Volume stays pretty steady over here in the city of Hudson. I'll just comment that August was our busiest month for our entire operation than we've ever seen before. We did 1,189 calls, so it's been very busy, but things are good. We're fully staffed. We have a number of new ambulances, and we have more on the way, so things are looking better than they were a year ago as far as ambulances go. So unless there's any questions, that's all I got.
No update from the county?
Shoot. You brought it up. No, I don't have any updates from what I reported last month, so I'm hoping, they said September was the month that they were hoping to go live, so
Okay.
we'll keep our fingers crossed and keep pushing for that, so.
Hopefully you'll have good
Thank you.
news next month.
Right, yeah.
I do actually have another update,
Yes,
if I can add to it.
absolutely.
Found out last week that 3 of my officers, all patrolmen, are leaving our agency to go to the Woodbury Police Department. Their last day will be September 12th. And just to kind of put that in perspective, that's 10% of my staff. That'll bring our patrol unit from 17 down to 14 until we get those positions replaced, so.
How many do you have on the list right now for,
No, I had to start a new process.
okay, so it's gonna be
So
some time before.
applications will be open through September. I think they close October 3rd or 4th, whatever that Friday is.
Okay.
And then hopefully, we're hopeful to have a list to begin backgrounding and things beginning in November.
In the meantime, from that time frame, does that just mean more overtime for other officers, or?
Potentially, potentially. It means less officers on shift, right? Our minimums are generally 2 with a supervisor, so we try to have 3 people working at all times. But that's gonna be hard to do without overtime. And quite frankly, a lot of these guys are getting pretty burnt out with overtime, so filling those shifts with overtime is often not very easy to do. I don't know how I forgot to update you on that, but now you've been updated.
Thank you.
All right, any other communications or items for future agendas?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
You have an opportunity to say something regarding the Higgins and Andy incident. I was told by Randy, I was quoted in the agenda, I don't have a lengthy speech, but I'd like to address the comments that were made on it.
Okay, so we already decided to, there was some information in the agenda, and we accepted the recommendations of the city engineer.
Okay, which, can you already comment on it? Which is not very clear to us, putting up more signs. We have signs, they don't work. Somebody's gonna get hit too. We requested painting of the crosswalk there. Somebody's gonna seriously get hit. If you watch the news in St. Paul, Minneapolis, people are getting hit on bikes, pedestrians, and they're driving into buildings which are coming into our complex and going all the way to the end. And something's gonna happen. I hate to see something happen like that.
I don't know that we can go back since that's already been,
We can, well, I mean, if you want to let them speak.
if you'd like to, you are more than welcome to say what you'd like to say.
Thank you. My name is Jürgen Whiting. I live on 79 Starlight Lane in Hudson. And I appreciate the effort that the committee had by looking into the note that I wrote. I like to kept it factual and short. And from what I hear in comments, the only concern is that somebody may crash in a concrete jersey barrier for the objections that we made, or I made. And we have jersey concrete barriers all over, and they're not there to make people crash into it, but to guide them out of the way. That was the objective of putting or suggesting a jersey crash barrier. How many are exactly where, that's up to looking at it. I appreciate the effort drawing a white line there now, but I don't think that's the answer. And if the sign was illegal, I don't think people care when they look at the sign if it's legal or illegal. That's something for the attorneys to argue in case there's an accident. I'm not getting into it. So your objection is for not having concrete Jersey barriers that you think somebody may crash into it. I mean, that's what I heard. Haven't seen anything in writing. If that's correct?
Are we supposed to, is this conversational or?
Yes, because
Okay.
this is on the agenda, so we can talk about it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
We haven't quite adjourned yet. We
Yeah.
we made the motions, but we did not vote on adjournment.
Yeah, that's the main objection, yep.
Okay. Is that the only objection?
I think that there would need to be more, I guess, engineering study. It would need to be, the Jersey barriers are usually more, they're not placed without more engineering design on any public road or high impact areas or areas with limited space. So yes, that is our main objection of a more severe accident, someone actually dying from a high impact injury, versus,
Even though the speed limit is 25 miles an hour on the road, they stuck with that high impact.
yeah.
So somebody's
but-
speeding,
Right.
committing illegal acts.
And, right. I
The
think
data
part
collection,
of,
if we can talk back about when they look into this, it's not just an opinion, it's looking at the data that was collected at that
Yeah.
area.
I mean, there wasn't anything reported, I guess, for crashes or anything along Starlight Lane for I think we looked over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really a lot of data to, I guess, on Starlight Lane or anything reported at least from what we can look at. I guess part of our conversation too was just, it doesn't feel like I'm guessing there's an association.
Yeah.
What have they done, I guess, within your development to preclude people from driving through?
This suggestion is not our property, it's the city's property. Our property starts a little bit further back into the road.
So
Starlight
the
Lane is
running
our property.
over, the running over of irrigation and flowers and all that, you're saying is the city?
No, that's ours.
Right, so your issue is with your property?
Our issue is, and I'm not going to back 20 years ago when it was designed, I haven't looked at the original plot because I think we all can agree that's a screwy way of making the corner. That the corner is goofy. We're in disagreement on that either and hope something can get changed. We don't expect it to get done overnight, but we like to hear something other. We raise a sign and that will take care of it. Not our problem. I have had people coming into my driveway at daylight. I know they were crooked because the police arrested them. They came in during daylight, emptying out. If you do it at night, it scares the hell out of you, And we have people driving over flowers because they think that's the street. And to be fair to the drivers, it is very misleading that the street goes through. Okay, I mean, that's the curb runs. If the curb would come more around, maybe that's a future plan, then we like to see what the city has planned, other than leaving it alone, and when the meeting is over, our problem is solved, and that's it. So we like to find out what's the next step. I didn't expect the suggestion I made, somebody would say, well, this is a godsend, we got a problem solved. I expect some dialogue. We can see what you have, here's an option, this is what we can and cannot do, other than saying you could crash into Jersey barriers. They're miles off them, and every once in a while somebody crashes into them, but normally they don't. I mean, you had them on other streets here where we put them up for construction, and we are not putting them up because somebody could drive into it, but to protect what's beyond that. So.
Thank you. Chief, you had something?
Yeah, could you approach the association of maybe putting a gate up to protect that property there?
Well, we can't put a gate up. It's open. I mean, the garbage truck's coming in once a week. Okay, and
Can't give the garbage company a code to get in there?
No, it's not, I don't know how familiar you are with it. It's much wider than our streets are.
Yeah.
Because the way it was built.
Yeah, I'm very
And
familiar with it, yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing, and it's what we can do, you know, or what we can do, we can build a wall on our property, and then people certainly would crash into it. You know, plus, that's not the intent. The intent is to prevent people from driving onto Starlight Lane and creating some damage. That's the objective, and we're looking to work with the city, come up.
Have you guys looked into, I mean, it's a pretty wide opening. Have you know, a lot of developments will have like a center median, that's where their signage is, and that kind of breaks up the entrance. Have you guys looked into like a signage kind of right in the middle that could be, you know, there's those posts that could get knocked over for safety, but it could be more of an obvious thing, or like a center median in your driveway to kind of make it look a little less like a road?
You know, the center median would be on city property. The city property goes into, it's very difficult to find a dividing line. We think, and I'm just speaking for myself now, if we were to put something in the middle to narrow both sides, A, the fire department say it's not wide enough, B, somebody may crash in the middle. I didn't know there was an obstacle in the middle of the road. So,
I think I did look up the plat. The city does end pretty close after just kind of that trail.
Yeah.
It's not the city anymore, based on the plat I looked up. So I can send that to you guys.
well, there's no marking. I mean, I just go by what's paved, what the city did and didn't, and I don't think the city made a gift to us or paved 10 feet of your roadway. I think they pretty well know where the end is, which is fine, you know. But, no. We're not looking for confrontation, we're looking for help. That's the objective, you know. We're not threatening lawsuits or making all kinds of deals. We are citizens here, we like to work together, that's the objective, and we like to find something more than just we can raise the sign by 10 inches. No pun intended. I appreciate you looking into
It's
it.
more than that, though, but they're adding 2 additional curve warning signs so
Yeah.
that people see that it's a curve that's not a thoroughfare. And so, with the information, the data they've collected, this is our next step. It's not necessarily the end all.
Right.
It is the next step that we pursue to see if that improves things or things get better. So, you know, if we give this a chance to see if this is a solution for the issue, and then now, it certainly could be something you bring back to the public safety or the traffic calming committee to reevaluate at a future date as well.
Well, I appreciate that. I did not think, and if you read the memo that I wrote, I called it a temporary, you know, not permanent. A more permanent would be if the city redo the curb that comes down in Hagan Street, and I argued with you later, that comes around a little bit, then we could make it like a little island, which would then tell people, okay, you can't go there.
Yeah.
Without crashing or anything else, you know. But then the city would have to put the curb more in a curve to follow the yellow line, not the yellow brick road, but the yellow double line in the curve. And then end so we can still drive in and out, traffic can go in and out, but it would indicate to people, wait a minute, if this curve goes around, I better follow it, which most people do.
Yeah, and we'll look at that, you know, we'll look to do more design. I know it probably sounds far away, but in 2027, we are gonna look at reconstructing to connect the trail there. So
Yeah.
the trail will officially across your driveway. And so we'll definitely take a look at more like reconstruction like
Curve.
that.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
fine,
So that
but
will be more the
see,
permanent.
we don't know that.
Yep, yeah, that's what
What
I'm,
trail are you talking about?
the,
Walkway.
You're talking about the sidewalk that comes?
yep,
down?
yeah, the sidewalk,
Yep.
yeah, so the sidewalk kind of just ends right at you guys. We received a
Yep.
grant to continue the trail all the way down, Hanley.
That's good, because the people
Yeah.
are walking in the
So-
street now.
Yep, exactly. So we are, the plan to reconstruct the curb and continue that trail, so that will be the opportunity to have a crosswalk there. We're trying to get a way of adding crosswalks where there's like no pedestrian refuge. And so, yeah, I think we'll be able to do more permanent solution at that time.
Any kind of timetable, I know time.
Yeah,
We're not talking eons, you're talking to
Yeah.
somebody who's already exceeded his mortality table, so it would be nice to have something.
Yeah, it's, would be 2028 construction, so that's
2028.
3 years.
You realize it's 25 now.
Yes, I do.
Okay. No pun intended.
So I have a question. Is there anything that says, anything like private property, do not enter at that? There is, okay.
There's 2 signs that say that. The dead end sign I put up on our property.
Could we ask you to state your name at the,
Douglas McDonald,
Okay.
1627 Starlight Lane.
thank you.
The first meeting, we asked for a more comprehensive study of that intersection. We haven't even seen anybody do a traffic count. All the buildings that they put on Mayor Road and off of F now, they all cut through that way to get to 94. I don't blame them, because they have, why would you go up Carmichael with 4 lights versus going up Hanley to Hagen when you have 2 lights to get to 94? And they don't do 25.
No.
If you do 25, they're right on you. So they're doing 40 miles an hour down there. And if they're having accidents, that's part of it, is they're driving too fast. So putting up more signage isn't gonna help. I've tried it for 17 years and it hasn't helped. And somebody's gonna get hit. And I don't wanna see that. And I'm trying to prevent that. We have two bus stops close to our property there. And children use that bike path. You know, so to take no action, to say, oh, we'll put up some more signs, or, you know, they painted that little white thing, that's not stopping them. I can count the cars. If you need, I can take pictures of the cars and show Chief Williams how many cars come through there a day and how fast they're coming through there. You know, there's a problem. My neighbor Dick says, with all that signage, it looks like there's a problem. There is a problem. So there needs to be a study. How can we make that intersection different? Because it's not working the way it is. A lot of accidents aren't being reported. They come around that corner, they hit a tree, they're drinking too much, whatever, back out and take off. So a lot of the data that you have is incorrect. One of our residents had a visitor visiting, and someone during the night came through and totaled a vehicle there. So there's data that hasn't been collected correctly. And it's really starting to frustrate me after 17 years of living with this, to check my mail and worry about somebody hitting me, or hitting my neighbors, or running into my neighbor's gardens that they put a lot of money into. They have no right to be at that property, but it looks like a throwaway. Through street, throwaway. And there's got to be a change. I guess if we have to do it, we're gonna change it. So if you're worried about people crashing, they'll just crash into what we build. You know, and we don't want to see that either. So, I mean, I've lived there 17 years, and I've been trying to get Public Works to do something for 17 years. Nothing's getting done. And these little temporary things that that Deb's talking about, that's not gonna fix the problem. You know, stupid is stupid. People don't see signs. They're driving too fast. Thank you.
No, and I understand your frustration with the speeding. It's a problem.
It's all over town, but especially along that intersection where they're trying to get up to 94. Don't get in the way of the hockey moms trying to go to the hockey arena, because if they're late, forget it, they'll run you right over.
Maybe not stepping on the police chief's toe, but the police department is going to move into the old Phillips building, as I understand it. And maybe they could adjust that drive a little bit and make that curb a little bit more gentle. That perhaps would help.
Yeah, well, I mean, our guys sit there right in your driveway a lot of the time, so.
And we don't even charge for it. You sit in our driveway trying to catch people, which is fine. I'm glad you're successful at that.
So we know that there's, especially on Hanley and Hagan, that there's a speeding issue there, and we try to address it as we have time and when we can, so.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then now we have more, for whatever reason, more semi-trucks coming through there. And they have to go way over on the opposite lane in order to make the turn. And some of them, perhaps less experienced drivers, still drive over the other curb because the rigs are too long. So, you know, it's not, you would never design a curve or corner like that today. That's an inherited problem. So I'm not blaming anybody doing something wrong. I just say, now that we know it's no good, let's do something about it. That's the deal. And again, it's nice to have a plan 28, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a long way off. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Anything else?
Well, should we bring this back after we've had a chance, after the adjustments have been made and?
I mean, I think that's up to you guys.
Okay.
With the recommendations from Aaron and the traffic calming committee and such, give it some time so we can come back and continue collecting data and looking at what's happening at that intersection.
If the journey barricade should be gentle in an angle, so if somebody were to hit it, it would move over. It's not a dead-end crash. We're not talking about a 90-degree where you bang into it. We don't want to collect old metal in the driveway from cars that drove too fast. We want it gentle, and I didn't write it in my short memo because I'm not an engineer, but that was the objective, to make it slanted so it would guide the cars if they do hit.
Especially now with that nice new.
Yeah, if you're going to speak, I do need to have you go to the podium so we can get this on.
I'm Asbeth Weidling. I live on 1709 Starlight Lane, and the optimal solution would be to make the curve more gentle. And right now, with that white line, if there would be some Jersey bounds just past the white line, that would accentuate that whole situation a little bit more. That is not a public road.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well, we've already taken action on this, so I've already made the motion to adjourn.
And I seconded.
So,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, appreciate it.